Okay, I'm going to continue with looking at more provisions of the Torah that I don't understand. So I don't understand why people have a problem with. Let's go to Leviticus 16. Let's start, I guess, in verse 20. When he finishes atoning for the holy place in the tent of meeting, this is talking about what happens on the Day of Atonement, and you should read the whole chapter about it. But I want to cover a little bit here about the scapegoat. So, when he finishes atoning for the holy place in the tent of meeting and the altar, he shall offer the live goat. Then Aaron shall lay both of his hands on the head of the live goat and confess over it all the iniquities of the sons of Israel and all their transgressions in regard to their sins. And he shall lay them on the head of the goat and send it away into the wilderness by the hand of a man who stands in readiness. The goat shall bear on itself all the iniquities to a solitary land, and he shall release the goat in the wilderness. And we can talk about garments, but verse 26, it says, the one who releases the goat as the scapegoat shall wash his clothes and bathe. Okay, so and you have the sin offerings, but that's what you ever heard the term about being a scapegoat? Well, that's what it was. They put the sin, symbolically, the sin on this goat. What happened with Abraham? There was a goat a ram caught in the thicket, probably a goat, and given in the place of sacrificing Isaac. You read that in Genesis. So what's the problem with this? What's the problem with there being a scapegoat? And obviously this is because all this stuff teaches a lesson. Every bit of this teaches a lesson. And we have this whole thing about atonement, and we have with Yeshua that he is our atonement. And it talks about in verse 29, this shall be a permanent statute for you. In the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, you shall humble your souls and not do any work, whether the native or the alien who sojourns among you. There again, the alien was subject to these things too. Verse 30, for it is on this day that the atonement shall be made for you to cleanse you. You will be clean from all your sins before the Lord. It is to be a Sabbath of solemn rest for you, that you may humble your souls. It is a permanent statute. What is wrong with this? I don't see why people have a problem. Oh, the law was done away with. Oh, really? Well, this scapegoat, this is what symbolically took the sins away. This is an illustration of Yeshua. But oh, the law was done away with. Wow. How do we do that one? Really? It says in verse 34, now you shall have this as a permanent statute to make atonement for the sons of Israel for all their sins once every year, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. So he did. And if you read this stuff about atonement, it's the Day of Atonement was the only time that the high priest went into the Holy of Holies, which represents the actual presence of God. Who is our high priest? Yeshua. So, why do we have a problem with atonement? Yes, I mean, we can... people will get caught up, oh, well, that's part of the animal sacrifice, and that's the ceremonial laws. But guess what? There's some beauty, there's some richness in this. Because, the blood of the bull that was offered, and the blood of the goat that was offered during atonement, that all points to Yeshua, our Messiah, the Anointed One. How can people have a problem with this? I don't understand that. But the law was done away with. Oh, really? So the scapegoat idea, the concept of the scapegoat is gone, right? Really? It took our sin? Well, what happened? With that, it's a concept that I don't see why you should have a problem with a Day of Atonement. What's wrong with having a day of rest? People take off 2 weeks half the time before Christmas and up through New Year's. But people have a problem with resting on a day declared to be a rest day by Yahweh. People have a problem with the Sabbath. It says 6 days you shall do your work, but on the 7th day it is a Sabbath. You are to do no work. And he blessed the Sabbath from the very beginning in Genesis. The Sabbath goes back to Genesis back in day God created man in his own image. Very good. And there was a 6-day morning, evening. Okay, chapter 2. By the 7th day, God had his work which he had done, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it. What is sanctified? Set it apart. Because in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made. This is the account of the heavens and earth when they were created. So, what's wrong with the Sabbath? It goes back to Genesis 2. Chapter 2 of Genesis. He blessed that day back then. It isn't about Israel. It's about his people. It's about giving us a day of rest to recognize the creation week. Why is there a problem with that? I don't get it. We have Leviticus 18 about immoral relations, talks about basically incest and problems with that. Why do people have a problem with that? Respecting your parents. What's the problem with that? Honor your father and mother. It's 10 Commandments. And it comes with a promise later that your days shall be long and blessed. I don't get it. So let's explore this, and let's explore more things in here as we go. And please explain to me where's your problem with this? This is Torah. This is what they say is done away with. Shalom, shalom, and may Yahweh bless and keep you and make his face shine upon you and give you peace.